Are you a lover of the look of hand stitching, but you really don't want to take the time to do it? Well, hi, I'm Reva with Quality Sewing and Vacuum, and welcome to you. Welcome. Hey, I can't even talk today. I know, it's early for me. Anyway, we're going to be talking about Sashiko, and I'm Reva with Quality Sewing, and I'm so glad that you're joining us. So welcome, welcome, welcome. And this is one of our weekly How Do I. So if you stumbled upon us, check back every week, and then also go to our YouTube channel because we've got lots of content up there for you. But today we're going to be talking about the Baby Lock Sashiko machine. Now, what is Sashiko? Well, we're going to go through what it is, how you create it on the machine, all those things in today's class. So the Sashiko machine, what is Sashiko? Well, Sashiko is a traditional Japanese hand stitching style that was created to help prolong the life of clothing. And for the villages where the Sashiko originated, they could only use the natural materials that were around them and the dyes and things that they could use for dye. So that's where the blue came from, and they would create the cloth out of hemp or cotton. And the challenge was that it's cold up there, and because it was nearer to the mountains, and so one layer of cotton or hemp wasn't warm, so they layered them together. And then since it took so much time to create the fabric itself, when a garment wore out, they didn't throw it away. They salvaged as much as they could and layered it onto other fabrics, and they used Sashiko stitches to anchor them together. So I'll give you just a little example of a Sashiko stitch here, and that is just the little, traditionally it's on navy blue, and it's white stitches that decorate the fabric. It started out very utilitarian, but then became decorative, and each family and area had a style all its own. So it's really kind of cool, and it began in the like 1603, and during the, I'm going to say it wrong, I'm so sorry, but it's Edo time period, and that's where it began. Okay, so anyhow, let's talk about how we create it. Now, if you were doing it by hand, I know it's a four-letter word, but hand, you would want your stitches to be the exact same length every time, and I've heard that it has to do with the appearance as a grain of rice. So whether that's true or not, I don't know for sure. But let's take a look at some of the samples that I have here, and I'm going to return back to the one that I just showed you. But I'm going to start right here, because you can do beautiful Sashiko work without having it be a traditional form. Like I showed you, this is a traditional pattern right here, but everything around here is also Sashiko, but it's not traditional. It's great for adding detail to garments. This is a purchased blouse that I just went around and added the Sashiko stitches onto, and it really elevates what was a very inexpensive blouse into something really fun. You can do fun and decorative items with the Sashiko. And I think are we trying to zoom in? Is that what we're doing? Getting our camera coordinated with our fingers today is a challenge. So anyway, this is just kind of a fun little exercise there. You can also use it for quilting. So the channel quilting on this bag was all done with the Sashiko, and then also I made this cute little clutch wallet where the fabric is all done, the quilting is all done with Sashiko, and even the top stitching inside here is done with the Sashiko. So lots of fun things. You don't have to do just traditional things. You don't have to quilt with it. I did quilt with it on this piece here, which was lots of fun. And I want to return back to this piece because if you can see, and maybe we need to go to the back of the machine one. Take a look. Can you see? Oh, there, right here. Can you see that? Which way? I've used the Sashiko stitch to put the binding on. So even use the bias binding attachments to do that. And Betsy, yes, we're going to be using the Sashiko machine today. So I'm going to go over all of the parts on using the Sashiko machine. Now, as you look at the Sashiko machine, you probably notice that there is no thread up top. There is only thread in the bobbin, which I will show you here in a little bit. But before we go and do all that, I wanted to show you how this works. So we have our thread. It's threaded through the bobbin, and I have the thread right here. The tail is being held into place right here, and this is very important. You always want to have the thread have tension on it. Other thing just to know is that when you're stitching with a Sashiko machine, you always start on the fabric and you end on the fabric. It will come undone if you don't start and stop on fabric, because of the nature of how this machine works. So as I'm stitching here, I want you to notice right over here I have my stitch length and I have a stitch spacing. So if you adjust this, I'll make this small. Now I'm making smaller stitches, but my spacing in between the stitches is the same. But you can change that as well, and you can make that small and tight as well. Okay, so now I'm going to stop stitching. When it stops stitching, go ahead and raise the presser foot. And what I'm going to do is I want to try to grab that stitch, and I'm going to hold it with my thumb and my finger. See, my thumb's down there, my finger's up there. And then I'm going to pull it out to the side, and then we're going to go in. See right here, go in under that thread cutter and give it a little pull. And if it doesn't want to pull, there it goes. You can always use scissors. But it's important, while we're right here, you don't want to just tug on this because you might unstitch some of your stitches. But look at how awesome that is. I have the longer stitch there, and then notice how I got into the smaller stitches there. Okay, pretty cool. Now, there really is a space in between the stitches where there's no thread at all. Unlike a mock quilting stitch that you do on your sewing machine where it pulls up the bobbin and you use a clear thread on top, this is literally only a thread from the back side or from the bobbin. You can see that it looks like a continuous stitch there. Okay, so let's talk about how Sashiko began. So really interesting, the gentleman who actually invented the first home serger in the factory in Japan, his wife loved the art of Sashiko. And there became a time when her wrists would not allow her to do her handwork, and she became very sad that she was not able to do the handwork. So her husband, being the brilliant inventor that he is, invented the Sashiko machine just for her, so she could actually create Sashiko. It's such a beautiful story. So there, sewing is the original love language. I mean, isn't that just, I think it's such a beautiful story that he created that for her. The other thing to know is that these are manufactured in Japan, in the last remaining sewing machine factory in Japan, and they're hand built. Each one is individually built, and the quality that it goes through to create the machine, they only can make 50 of these in a month. So compared to a lot of assembly lines, right, this has such personal attention and detail that they can only make 50 a month. Okay, so let's talk about some other things on the machine, and then we're gonna play with it. So we talked about making our stitch length really long or really short, and that's a 2 millimeter and a 5 millimeter. And then you can make your spacing a 2 or a 5 or anywhere in between. You can, make them the same. You can make them different. Whatever it is that is great for you. I actually love putting Sashiko on the top of my tote bags that I make. It just looks really awesome. So now, If you ever get stuck and you have your Sashiko, it comes with the quick reference guide that gives you all the information on how to do everything on the machine. So I want to show you how to wind the bobbin. Okay, then it takes a normal class 15 underneath, and to do this we're going to do some things very specifically. You're in the right spot, Chris, don't move it. So I'm going to go ahead and push and hold the button right here, and you're going to notice that the light turns to flashing and green. Before it was flashing like that, you probably noticed that. That's because my foot is up. But when it says green by the little picture of the bobbin, that means it's safe to open the door. And then I can take out the bobbin case. And the bobbin case looks very much like an old-fashioned style insert bobbin, with the exception that it has a little mohawk on it. Can you see? Let me see if I move. Can you see the mohawk? See his little fuzzy head? He's got a little mohawk on him. And so that is an important feature. Okay, so I'm going to take this bobbin out, and we're going to actually wind a new bobbin. So it takes a class 15 bobbin, and I'm going to take my thread and slip it onto the spool pin there. Let me go backwards with this one. And I'm going to take the thread, maybe, there we go, and we're going to come all the way over to this clip right here. And we need to clip into that. That's very important. And then this little guy right here is actually a tension guide, so you need to click into that. Did you hear that? Let's do it again. Okay, you want to hear that click to know that it's in there, and then it lays across, oh, you can't see, lays across the top of this little guy here, and then we'll take it over to our bobbin. Okay? All right, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to flip that little guy over and use the presser foot, the foot pedal, to wind that in. And we'll just put a little bit of thread on there because I don't need a whole lot, because we're not going to be doing a full project today. But you're just going to wind that up. All right. Now, anytime you're working with any bobbin winding, whether it be this machine or another, make sure that you have the pathing correct so you get a nice wind on your bobbin. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to slide this back over, take the bobbin off, and now it's ready to use. And of course, I don't need the thread anymore, so we'll just take him off because, yeah, it doesn't use top thread. Okay, so I'm going to come back here so you can see this a little bit better. So here's this little mohawk. Can he look any cute? Can name him Bob. I don't know. He's cute. Okay, so I'm going to take the bobbin and I'm going to slip it in here. Now, when you put a bobbin in a case like this, you want the thread or the bobbin to wind clockwise when you unspool it. Now, notice it's going counterclockwise, so I want to turn it around. Okay, so it needs to pull clockwise. Then we can go into the little slit under the spring, and now I have these two little guys up here, and you might be able to see the little dot. There's actually a hole up there, and so we're going to take the thread and we're going to go from the bobbin side through the hole, through both holes, out the latch side. So it goes from bobbin to the latch, okay, through both of them. All right. Now, I still have my little light is blinking, and let's see. I'm going to try, Chris. I'm going to try to rotate this guy around and see if I can get him into that shot. So let's see if we can do that. All right. There we go. Thank you. Okay, so now you're going to pretend with me. There's a little yellow dot down here. You may or may not see it, but it's there. You'll see it when you have it at home. The yellow dot is where this goes. Okay? Now he has a fancy little mohawk, so we're not going to put it straight in to the to where that button is. There, that's where I need to go. We're not going to put him straight down. We're actually going to have him kind of angled a little bit, because otherwise his little mohawk gets shaved off. And then we'll rotate him back, and then I will hope to be able to, there, I got him in. Okay, so now he's ready to go. Now, to get this threaded, what I'm going to do is rotate the hand wheel toward me once, and it did nothing. And I'm only holding my thread lightly. Now, let me see if I can get it this next time. There it goes. Nope, it didn't. Hold on. I got to come back. I may not have him in the right spot. I do not have him in the right spot. Let's try that again. Close my door. Get that bobbin down there. Let's see where he is. Okay. You know, it's all fine trying to do it all backwards, but you know, if you don't get him where he goes, there he is. Okay. Okay, let's try that again now. Get him back where you can see him. Okay, I'm going to rotate once down, and then once again, there it pulls up the thread. See the thread up here? So now I'm going to let go of the thread, and I'm going to swipe the thread out from underneath the foot. Now, I want to hold on to that, and I'm going to rotate one more time, and notice it's on the latch wire here. Once it's on the latch wire, we can close this up. I'm still holding onto that thread, and we're going to bring it into that thread cutter and cut the thread off. Now it's ready to go. So let's see if we can get it back to where you can see it in the front. So now it's ready to stitch. So let's give it a test. I'm going to put my foot down, and I'm going to start stitching. And it's doing a beautiful job. Okay? All right, so you notice now that I have a blue light here, and that is my needle up. So it stops with the needle up. How's that? Better? Okay, so it stops with the needle up. If I push the button, the green is down. That means it's going to stop every time with the needle down. And then if I want to take the thread out or the fabric out, I'm going to give it a little pull, hold the stitches, and then give it a little cut. So let's do something real quick. Let's go ahead and take this, and I am going to go ahead. I have this piece started, you can see, and I have some cross hatching that I need to complete. So I'm just going to go ahead and put the fabric at the to the edge of my foot, fabric to the edge of the foot, and then I'm going to align using the lines that are on the foot itself, and we can just give it a nice little stitch. And however fast you go is how fast it goes. So depending on what you're using, you may want to go faster or slower. So this machine can, in the manual, it will tell you that it can use up to a 30 weight thread, and you know the smaller the number, the lower the number, the thicker the thread. So the thread I just used here is a 40 weight. Okay, so you can go to a 30. Now, why it looks heavier than a standard 30 weight thread or a 40 weight thread is because it's double. It brings up a loop, and then magic happens and it creates an actual stitch. I'm not even going to begin to imagine how he invented this. So, okay, so I'm going to raise that up, give that a pull and a cut, and now we have this piece is all different. Now, let's talk about that needle down for a second. So I have just a little box drawn on my square, which you probably cannot see. I can see it though, and I'm going to go ahead and lower my foot down on here, and I want to stop with my needle in the down position. So when it stops, it's actually going to make sure it does a full stitch and stop with the needle in the down position. So I need to make one more stitch. Now notice that the presser foot has lifted up, so then I can pivot and continue sewing. And when you want to pivot again, it will again raise that presser foot up so we can pivot. Look at that. So easy. So you can use all sorts of different beautiful threads like this. The thread that was in the machine when we started, let me show you that, was a king tut. So it has a nice purple, green, teal mixture on it. And this is just an embroidery thread. So you can use whatever it is you want. Now, there are markings on the foot. There's red lines in line with the needle. There's red lines in front of the needle, and then one in center needle position. So what I'm going to do, I want to pivot. This is a, I think it's a 1/4 inch here. So from the side of the foot to the needle is a 1/4 inch. The red lines here are in line with the needle, and the ones up front are a 1/4 inch away. So if I want to turn a corner, I'm watching the front. Well, I was watching the front and then I went right past it, so that was great. So just ignore that part. Let's get it realigned back up. Okay, I'm going to come and I want to start stitching, use the edge of my foot as a guide. And I just want to make sure that I stop this time instead of watching the needle. I want to actually stop with the foot. And I'm going to rotate and stitch again. So lots of fun that you can have with this machine. And I'm just going to stitch down here and finish this one out, and then we can go on to the next thing. Okay, so I'm going to pull that, and always make sure you anchor it. Okay, that's going to keep it stable. Now, let's do something else. This is really, really cool. So we have the needle down, right? We have the needle up, we have the needle down. But if you double tap this, it does something else. And this is on the Sashiko 2, which is the current model. So I'm going to double tap it, and now it's blinking. So now, if I step on the gas, it makes one stitch. Now, my foot's still on the gas pedal, but it's not moving. I let off the gas, I do it again, it makes one full rotation. So what that's fun for is doing couching. So I have a really, really super long piece of thread here, or yarn. So I'm going to take a small bit of it, and I'm going to take this and I'm going to slip it under the needle. It's in front of the needle, under the foot, in front of the needle, and then I'm going to take that stitch and it anchors it down. But now that it stops automatically, we can simply crisscross them over top of each other, and it will stop every single time for us to get the couching. And so this is really a fun thing to do. You can use ribbon, you can use yarns, you can use embroidery floss, whatever it is that you want to use, and then you can get some really interesting details. So lots of fun. Okay, I'm going to stop with that one, and I want to show you another style we can do. I'm going to show you the results though. Let's go to the back one, and look at how fun that is with the crisscross. Isn't that fun? Okay, so, and I'm actually going to use the same color of yarn so we have a good comparison for this, but I'm going to put my foot down and I'm going to double tap this again, okay? And then that puts it into a blinking green light. I'm going to take my yarn, but this time I have just a little tail on the one side, and I'm going to slip it under so it gets caught. Then I'm just going to go back and forth with one piece of the yarn. So the decorative possibilities are really quite amazing, and you can do just about anything that you like. Really fun to have on the yoke of a garment instead of smocking, or whatever you might want to do. Okay, let me show you what that looks like. Pull this out and take a look. See how this just goes back, forth, back, forth, back, forth, versus a more braided look. Really, really cool. So those are kind of the ins and outs of what the Sashiko can do. So just remember, with your machine, if you're going to you want to change the bobbin, you're going to take this button and you're going to push and hold it until the green light appears. and then you're going to double tap to get it to stop after one stitch, one tap for down, one tap for up, and you're good to go. So the Sashiko machine is really simple to use, and it is so easy, and it is really a fun addition to your sewing room. It's great to just, like I said, use it for a top stitch along a tote bag or on a garment, or just to decorate the fabric, quilt. You can do all sorts of things with it, so I think you're going to love using it. So, you know, pop into one of our stores at qualitysewing.com and take a look at it in person, because it really is a fabulous machine. And remember, with every Sashiko machine you have a little love, and you can just remember that touching story of how he created this machine for his wife. So anyhow, whether you want to do traditional Sashiko or you want to do something more modern, this machine will handle it for you. So anyway, we look forward to seeing you at our next How Do I?